The mahogany casket was halfway into the ground when a voice shattered the solemn silence. "Stop. She's not dead." Every head turned to see a man in a worn sanitation uniform sprinting across the manicured cemetery lawn, his fluorescent vest a jarring contrast against the sea of black attire. Security moved to intercept him, but something in his desperate eyes made them hesitate just long enough. If you're captivated already, hit that like button and subscribe to witness more incredible stories of ordinary people changing lives in extraordinary ways. The funeral of Eleanor Blackwood, tech billionaire and philanthropist, had drawn hundreds of mourners to Oak Ridge Cemetery on that crisp autumn morning. Business titans, celebrities, and politicians gathered under a cloudless sky, their designer sunglasses hiding varying degrees of grief and calculation. James Chen, Eleanor's right-hand man and interim CEO, stood closest to the casket, his expression appropriately somber. Beside him, Eleanor's estranged daughter Mia clutched a handkerchief, her shoulders rigid with a tension that might have been mistaken for grief. No one noticed the garbage truck parked beyond the cemetery gates, or the man who had been watching the proceedings through binoculars. Until now. "My name is Ray Mendoza," the garbage collector announced, breathing heavily as he reached the gravesite. "And Eleanor Blackwood is alive." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Security guards flanked Ray immediately, but James Chen raised a hand to stop them from removing him. "This man is clearly disturbed," James said, his voice carrying the perfect note of compassionate concern. "Perhaps we should let him speak, out of respect for Ms. Blackwood's belief in giving everyone a voice." Ray's eyes locked with James's. "3 days ago, I was collecting trash behind Blackwood Tower when I heard a commotion in the service alley. I saw 2 men loading what looked like a body into a van. I thought they were moving a mannequin until I heard a moan." Mia Blackwood stepped forward, her face pale. "This is absurd. My mother died of a heart attack in her penthouse. The medical examiner confirmed it." "Did they?" Ray challenged. "Or did someone pay them to say that?" The crowd murmured. Phones emerged, recording the unfolding drama. "I followed the van," Ray continued. "They took her to an abandoned clinic in Westport. I've been watching the place for days. She's being held there, alive but sedated." James Chen's professional smile never wavered. "This is quite the tale, Mr. Mendoza. But I must ask, why would anyone fake Eleanor Blackwood's death?" "The Prometheus Project," Ray said simply. The color drained from James's face. Eleanor Blackwood had built her fortune on revolutionary AI technology, but in recent years, her focus had shifted. The Prometheus Project was her most secretive initiative, rumored to be a breakthrough in sustainable energy that could eliminate fossil fuel dependency worldwide. What the public didn't know was that Eleanor had discovered something that would render billions of dollars in oil investments worthless overnight. Ray had learned this because his sister worked as a cleaner at Blackwood Labs. She had overheard conversations, seen documents. When she disappeared 2 weeks ago, Ray started paying attention. "My sister Maria told me Ms. Blackwood was planning to announce something big at next month's Global Energy Summit," Ray explained to the increasingly captivated funeral attendees. "The day after she told me this, Maria vanished. Then Ms. Blackwood supposedly died." Mia Blackwood's composure cracked. "If what you're saying is true, if my mother is alive, then why come here? Why not go to the police?" Ray's laugh was hollow. "With what evidence? Against people powerful enough to fake a billionaire's death? I needed witnesses. I needed all of you to hear this so it couldn't be buried." He pulled out his phone. "But I do have this." The video was grainy but clear enough. Eleanor Blackwood, unconscious but visibly breathing, being tended to by a nurse in what looked like a makeshift medical facility. "I recorded this through a window yesterday," Ray said. "I can take you there right now." What followed was chaos. Police were called. The funeral dissolved into confusion. James Chen disappeared in the commotion, but not before Mia Blackwood saw something in his eyes that confirmed Ray's story. 3 hours later, a SWAT team raided the abandoned clinic in Westport. They found Eleanor Blackwood, weak but alive, along with evidence implicating James Chen and several board members in a conspiracy that extended to major energy conglomerates worldwide. Eleanor had been days away from announcing a breakthrough in fusion technology that would have revolutionized global energy production. The consortium behind her abduction stood to lose trillions. 6 months later, Ray Mendoza sat across from Eleanor and Mia Blackwood in the sunlit conservatory of the Blackwood estate. The Prometheus project had been unveiled to the world, and the transition to the new energy paradigm had begun, despite fierce opposition from those whose power it threatened. "I still don't understand why you risked everything," Eleanor said, studying the garbage collector who had saved her life. "You didn't know me." Ray looked down at his hands. "My father died in an oil rig accident when I was 12. My sister disappeared trying to protect your secret. And every day, I collect the waste of a system that values profit over people." He met her eyes. "When I saw a chance to change that, how could I not take it?" Mia, who had reconciled with her mother during her recovery, reached out to squeeze Ray's hand. "You gave me back my mother. You gave the world a future." Eleanor nodded. "Which is why I want you to help us implement Prometheus. Not as a garbage collector, but as someone who understands what's at stake for ordinary people." Ray looked surprised. "I'm just a sanitation worker. I don't know anything about technology or business." "You know about courage," Eleanor said simply. "And sometimes, that's the most important qualification of all." As the sun set over the Blackwood estate, 3 unlikely allies made plans for a future that had almost been stolen, not just from them, but from humanity itself. Sometimes, the most extraordinary heroes come from the most ordinary places. Sometimes, the person who collects what others throw away can see value where others see nothing. And sometimes, one person's courage can change the course of history. The garbage collector who stopped a billionaire's funeral didn't just save a life that day. He saved a future. And that's a story worth telling.